And by the way,
Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached elenasbarre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more, 'cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too, and many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such peak condition, she'll outrun the metronome. elenasbarre, elenasbarre, they're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. elenasbarre, elenasbarre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression, so remember you take part at your own risk and your discretion. elenasbarre, elenasbarre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Anita if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. elenasbarre, elenasbarre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.
hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to elenasbarre and the Resurgence of Sanity. How are you doing, guys, today?
Good.
Doing good, doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
How's the
She's
toaster?
feisty. She's feisty. I just had a pre-show argument with her.
Well, that's nothing new.
Okay, guys, today we are going to have fun. We have an interesting topic. We are talking about scoundrels and sluts. And Steve suggested this topic. It's based on the popular phrase. What was the phrase? Here, I have it written down. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Christianity is the last refuge of a slut.
Okay, no, you're combining two things.
Well, yes, the first
Only
one
the
is
first part
the
is
first
the
one
old
is
phrase.
Yeah.
The second part was my reflection on that and applying it to women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we should.
I agree. Okay, stream over.
I think we should go through this phrase and how it applies to men and the historical basis and all that first.
Okay.
There we go.
So I can bring up my AI explanation of this.
Okay.
Oh, I got it. Share screen. Okay.
I was reading an article about it, the psychology behind this phrase, the first one. Okay.
Okay. See if I can make this bigger.
You can see it. Okay, but you can zoom it, yeah.
Okay. Patriot, explain. This is Copilot AI.
Mm-hmm.
Explain the quote. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Samuel Johnson's line, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel, is a criticism of fake patriotism, and not genuine love of country. Johnson said it on April 7th, 1775. And his biographer, James Boswell, recorded that Johnson was attacking people who use patriotic language as a cover for selfish or corrupt motives. Nick, do you know anybody who criticizes women for their selfish and corrupt motives? I guess he's on a break. Never mind. Okay, so the meaning of it.
Why does it have to be like women necessarily?
Oh, it does. This applies to men, but
yeah,
do women ever do things to cover?
Well, yeah, they
selfish
do,
and
but
corrupt
you
motives?
say that.
Okay.
The
So
men who
this
criticize
applies to
women-
men.
Mhm.
This applies to men. So we're going to go through this and say, yep, it applies to men. But keep in mind, yeah, there's something else that applies to women. So let's keep going. Johnson was pointing out a political pattern that was already old in his time. When someone is losing power, credibility, or public support, they may suddenly wrap themselves in patriotic rhetoric to shield themselves from criticism. This, quote, refuge, unquote, is a tactic, an appeal to emotion meant to distract from wrongdoing or incompetence. Boswell clarified that Johnson meant pretended patriotism, not real civic virtue. Why Johnson said it? The remark came during a discussion about political behavior in the 1770s, a period when patriotism was being used as a rhetorical weapon in Britain's conflicts and debates. Johnson, who was deeply skeptical of political grandstanding, saw how easily patriotic slogans could be used to manipulate public opinion or justify questionable actions. Later writers repeated variations such as pretended patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Patriotism is the first refuge of a scoundrel. The authoritative version is Johnson's original line documented by Boswell. Why the quote still resonates? The idea remains relevant because political actors in many eras have used patriotic language to deflect criticism, rally support during scandals, frame opponents as unpatriotic, justify aggressive or self-serving policies. Johnson's warning is essential. When someone suddenly becomes loudly patriotic, examine their motives carefully. Now, I can go back and paraphrase this to where we're going today. And I'll do Christianity is the last refuge of a slut. It's a criticism of fake Christianity, not genuine love of God. Steve Sandman said it last week, and he has no biographer. But I'm attacking women who use Christian language as a cover for selfish or corrupt motives, not women who sincerely care about Jesus and God. I'm pointing out a pattern that is as old as time. When someone is losing power, credibility, control over their husband, they're frustrated because they have no man, they may suddenly wrap themselves in Christianity to shield themselves from criticism in their past. This refuge is a tactic, an appeal to emotion meant to distract from wrongdoing, incompetence, sluttiness, sinfulness, all kinds of debauched behavior. And this is pretend Christianity, not real moral virtue. And this came about during our modern time when I'm observing what women do. And it's a period where they are using all this discourse to avoid themselves being seen of wrongdoing and throw the blame back on men. I am deeply skeptical of their grandstanding and how easily their Christian faux conversions can be used to manipulate Christian opinion to justify or wipe clear their past actions. And I guess that's my summary. People adopt a mask and a new persona to avoid accountability. Patriotism is what scoundrels used to cover up their past wrongdoing. Christianity is what current Christian women do, or current women do, to cover up their 304 behavior. That's the premise of our discussion. Nick is
Okay.
laughing over here. I'm sure he has something to say.
Oh, it's just the mask that she wears and the mask he wears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was thinking while you were reading it about Christian women, we could apply the same article on women who are anti-feminists. I'm an anti-feminist. Feminism is so evil. It's so horrible. And look, I don't disagree with you, but like we see so many reformed 304s are now criticizing feminism, and yet they are LARPing and virtue signaling using the feminist tool, social media. And among other things, among other legal and social benefits that feminism gives them. Isn't it fake too?
I think so. Yeah.
Tacticus is
So
in the house. Mm-hmm.
how much of what women say is a LARP?
All of it. Yeah, if feminism was so evil, ladies, like why don't you give up all of the feminist benefits? Why are you against restraint?
Yeah, Elena goes straight to that. Yep.
What a
Why to waste
silly
people's
question.
time? I just,
Yeah.
like, come on.
Come on, Elena, what a silly question. When will women willingly give up benefits? When do men willingly give up benefits? When
When hell
do
freezes
people
over for women,
embrace when do people embrace discipline and give up being in charge? It just doesn't happen.
50 Shades of LARP. Exactly. Even more tactical.
When do women give up benefits?
Never.
When hell freezes over?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like right now they are all LARPing. They are all LARPing. They're saying, oh, feminism is so evil. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. We want to be
It is
stay-at-home
evil.
wives
It
and
is
mothers.
bad.
You see, just because she wants a ring on her finger, just because she wants to be a wife and mother, to be a well-taken care of stay-at-home wife and mother, where a husband provides for her. And what he's paying for her to be we are past 8 mark, a public whore on social media so that she can virtue signal, LARP, and then like monkey branch on him eventually. What does your husband get out of this? He can't restrain her. He doesn't have any legal or natural authority over her to say, no, you're not putting your butt cheeks on social media. No, you're not using our kids on social media so that you feel good about yourself.
Well, Steve and I have an understanding of what a man should do. We had that conversation yesterday. Yeah.
Yes.
What's a man supposed to do, Steve? Kind of damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, right?
Uh-huh. We were talking in the land of hypotheticals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to be scandalous. Sorry.
I don't care. Go for it.
It all comes down to authority and dominion. And in modern world, that is power. So we've touched on this before, but how Elena keeps going on about how women have power over men, and if a man does something, she can take him to court. Well, true enough, but a man really does have dominion over his woman. So just theoretically,
Okay.
let's see, the man is he's submissive to God, but he is exercising authority. He doesn't want to harm his woman, but hurt is a different story. Discipline might be required. So he gives her a mild spanking. Now, what can happen? Well, if he's not truly dominant and if he's being abusive, oh, yes, she can take him to, file charges against him. But the act that he did is not illegal. It's not. There's all kinds of consensual stuff going on out there that are even more extreme than that. Consensual. That's not illegal. You can live your life any way you want. The only thing that's illegal is if she complains against it. Okay, now it's in her mind. But we know, I know personally, Nick knows personally, a woman can accuse a man of doing that even if he didn't do it. And he's going to suffer the consequences of that. So if he did do it and she accuses him, he might suffer the consequences, but it's no worse than not doing it. And here's where the paradox comes in. By doing that, he shows that he's a strong man. And the paradox is she's less likely to accuse him.
So are you saying that men should start spanking their wives to see what happens?
That's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Yes. I'll come right out and say it. Yes. Not abusive. She's got a lot of fat and cushion there. You're really not going to harm her. But you are going to wake up her senses a little bit.
I can already imagine these screeching wives who are chopping their husbands and then they I don't think it will end well for them,
You're imagining it, and then you're laughing because this would be so wonderful. You're laughing because all these women would get what they have coming to them, and it delights you, right?
Well, I mean, they would definitely be I don't even know. Like, so many of them are just, well, they keep saying on social media, that they how strong their husbands are, how they lead them the right way, not in a domineering way, but in an appropriate way. So they essentially beta-tized guys who might have some money, muscles, and game. But
hey, Nick, did Shakespeare write a play about this dynamic?
You'd have to remind me, but
the taming
of the shrew.
Yeah. The taming of the shrew. But what's interesting though is you're going to hear a lot of shrieking wives, but when you really get down to what they're reading in secret or perhaps not in secret, what they're fantasizing about, I pretty much guarantee you that this is pretty much on the list. But privately, they're thinking about it.
Or that a man spanks them and dominates them.
Well, they're reading material. They've got some of the strangest fetishes, fantasies, even more violent than most guys would like. Most guys would, I've seen some covers of. They're like, "What the hell is this?" But apparently, women like this.
It must be very convenient for women. They kind of live in.
So this is actually kind of tame by comparison.
Yeah,
it is quite tame, actually. It sounds extreme. But,
Yeah,
hey, it takes a lot of work for a man to do this.
to do that, yeah.
He
And
doesn't really want to do it most of the time. He doesn't want to take on a great burden and chore of micromanaging his wife. That's too damn much work. But every once in a while, reminding her of who's in charge, but not harming her, can be very effective.
yeah, it can be if women are embracing it, if they were raised with this restraint and discipline, but if they are reviving wives and they are not. I think they're not going to take it well. I mean, like I understand what you're trying to say. I understand it would serve to their benefit if they did. I just knowing the psychology of women, and also they have they kind of live in two worlds. So they have their delusional world where they are dreaming about these exotic things, right? Where a man is overpowering and dominating, but yet in reality, they understand and they know that if they are being hurt in any way, they can accuse them and they can get away with their accusations. And nobody will tell them, nobody will reinforce it and tell them like, well, but this is what you're dreaming about, this is what you actually want, right? So you married this man, you chose this man, you stick with him.
It's not that simple. Depends on where you start. You're starting in the middle. You can't start in the middle. You got to start at the beginning. So let's go back to those romance novels. Or Nick is the expert here on romance novels. So Nick, given your vast knowledge of these romance novels, are there any stories about a woman who encounters a simp and he is gushy and serving her and all that, and all of a sudden he finds his dominance and he spanks her, and then she falls deeply in love with him?
Only in the movies,
no.
maybe. There were a
Maybe
couple of
no.
movies that we watched with my husband, but even then it was so fake. Oh gosh, there was one guy, he wanted to act like an alpha because he was a simp, and then he didn't plan it through well enough, so he invited his wife on a date and he was like telling her what we are doing, and she was okay. She was like, oh, okay, let him run for a little while, right? But then it was so like over the top, and then they got themselves in trouble. I don't remember like the details of the movie. I don't even remember the name of the movie, honestly. It was like years
Okay,
ago.
that sounds to me like a modern movie that
It was
shows male dominance blows up in a man's face, and he should not do that. It's more of
Kind of, yeah.
anti-propaganda. So no, okay, Nick, he doesn't know about romance novels, neither do I. But that story just does not work.
Mhm.
The accurate story is woman sees dominant man. She pines after him. He's not nice to her. Kind of ignores her, tells her what to do. He's bossy. She bristles against that, but she thinks about him. And then, later on, sooner or later, he spanks her, and then she falls in love. So the guy shows dominance from the beginning and continued dominance, and she loves it, and she's not criticizing him for showing dominance. So that's reality. The other reality is a man is a simp. He then tries to become dominant and assert his authority. Then the woman will rebel against that and accuse him of all kinds of things.
Well, I also
Elena was describing showing dominance after he's lost his power and been
It's
serving her.
most
That
cases,
never
and
worked.
also, okay, what I
Doesn't work.
see, what I also see men are doing, they act, they pretend.
That's why-
Okay, their dominance is pretentious, so they act at the beginning. They may act that they have frame, they are dominant, they're doing all of those things. The moment they get married, like something changes there, you know, like, so
The
they realize they give up the
betaization by
dominance.
It's called betaization by 1,000 concessions. You
Yep.
could be a dominant guy, have frame, have your life mapped out, but men can be so stupid, bleeding hearts for women, and think that women are so fragile, innocent, nice, and sugar spice, everything nice, and that she's a rational human being, which they are, but and they start, well, she can take care of the finances. Well, I don't have to hang out with my friends anymore. Oh yeah, she can go do ladies' night. Oh, I'll go watch the kids. And in a way, they think they're actually being kind, but they're actually failed to be dominant and failed to understand female nature. And so they become these betazations, become yes dear men, happy wife, happy life type guys, and then
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to
Yeah.
reassert dominance once you've gone down that betaization by 1,000 concessions.
I
Then
wonder
you will
if,
expect her to reveal.
you know what, I wonder if by signing the contract, the marriage contract, men already give up their authority in a way that she already is dominating
Yeah, in
in
the
that
eyes of the state, you
relationship.
did. Yes, in the eyes of the state, you did.
Well, technically, because it's like, how much legal dominance do you actually can you execute upon in your own
That's
marriage?
that's not even a real marriage. I mean, I sent you
Mhm.
those pictures of the book on natural law in 1946. He was criticizing the Soviet Union for destroying marriages, how the West didn't even recognize these marriages, and what we have now in the West is worse than what the pre-World War II Soviet Union had.
Exactly. This is why it's like, I think that the moment they get married through the state, it's like they are reaping off their own authority over their wives and children. They can't say no to them. They can't even restrain their women. Look what happens. Analyze how married women behave on social media. Even
Elena, that's not true. You're buying the propaganda.
what?
That's, yeah, hear me out. That is what they want everybody to believe. And yes, that is the world. That's how everybody reacts and how they think about it. But just by even under the most horrendous laws, a man does not have to give up his dominance when he gets married. Most of the time he does, because he's propagandized into believing this is true. But he can still assert his dominance in the marriage
Okay,
and not buy
it's
into
going
this.
to be
And
limited.
yet,
It's going to be limited dominance over. He'll still be bind by the law.
no, it's not limited. His
Look,
dominance,
Nick tried to execute his dominance over his wife.
no,
Watch what happened.
Nick screwed up because he lost his dominance and then he tried to reassert it. And that was a failure. It wasn't,
Yep.
if you have it and you keep it from the beginning, it doesn't really matter what the state says. Oh, yeah, she always has that 1% or 10% or whatever chance of using it against you. But she's going to do that even if you're a beta provider. She's going to throw you under the bus. She's going to accuse you of this shit. Regardless. Doesn't matter if you did it or didn't do it. And by doing it and showing dominance, she's actually less likely to do it because she's forced to respect you. It's a paradox.
We have a comment here from Bare Minimum saying emotionally unstable men will use force to get their way and call it dominance.
I'm not going to say
Absolutely.
emotionally unstable. No, it's not emotionally unstable. First, it's rationally unstable.
Well, men
emotionally unstable.
Men with a low sense of esteem We'll do that. Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. But that does not mean, conversely, that a man who does that automatically has low self esteem and is a weak man and is doing it to control people. Just because good people can do a behavior and bad people can do a behavior does not mean that the behavior means everybody who does it is bad.
Okay, here Tactical says, nation state betatization, the great cocking era by soft power, mass media, and legislation that enforces it. Yeah. Everything is designed against men and them executing upon their natural authority over their women. If most women today are not being raised by dominant dads, it's not in their upbringing. They don't embrace their authoritative men who would impose any boundary and restraint on them. They're rebellious. They honestly belong to the streets. And then when you tell them that, well, yeah, you can execute upon your dominance, then like, okay, how much can you do of that? Because she's not used to that. She's not used to being
Start
restrained.
at the beginning. And
Have
it's
to start
not
at the
always
beginning.
possible. It might not even be possible for most women. And it might not be possible for most men to do this. And if a man does find it within himself to be able to take this sense and be dominant and be protective and all the good virtues and just to have authority and dominance in his home, that's a rare thing. And a lot of men only get it through great hardship and hard lessons. And it's possible that it's within every man, but it won't be developed in the vast majority of men. And the vast majority of women won't accept that. And the vast majority of women might be so far gone that a man cannot bring her back into her proper role. And it takes more, the more wacky and rebellious a woman is, the more force or power or dominance it takes to get her in line. And therefore, that in itself is beyond what is legal in our modern world. Therefore, it's impossible.
Just prepare your exit.
Here, Shiv says, so good. I came in worshiping the missus and she couldn't make the switch when I should nice guy. The nice guy.
Yes, you can't go nice guy and then go dominant guy. It's never,
Yeah.
I've never seen an example of where it works.
Doesn't work. It doesn't. That's
Yeah.
why you can't lose Frame. Frame Uber Alice as Elena's wife. I mean, Elena's husband. Elena's husband.
Thank you, Nick.
Elena's husband, Plutarch, our co-host.
I know. Yeah.
That's his phrase. Frame Uber Alice.
Frame Uber Alice. Agree 100%. Yeah. Yeah, well then bare minimum says here, it's interesting to see the interactions in the chat, guys. Thank you for sharing with us what you think. You cannot force people to behave how you desire. They are leaders and followers. Well, and see, the problem is today that most women, despite their efforts and despite their LARPing and virtue signaling on social media, are not followers. And most men are not leaders. And the institutions support that. The institutions are against male leadership in their own families. So they empower women instead of giving men the authority, the power, the dominance in their own families. Because women are attracted to power. And this is something that Plutarch, my husband, mentioned before on the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel last show, right? You did. He said that women are attracted to powerful men. This is why you see it, like presidents, they always have a bunch of chicks that they can spin plates with, and the successful guys, the masculine dudes, who are doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like they're all surrounded by a bunch of women who are interested in them. Yeah. Like in a traditional sense, like every a man should be responsible, what Steve was saying, for one woman. He should have dominance over one woman.
Not domineering, but dominance.
Dominance,
Different.
yeah. There is a difference, but like in today's world, it's so messed up that only like 10% of the world male population get all the women, and the average guys, they have zero. They have zero. Women are not interested in them.
That's an 80-20 rule.
Well,
Or
yeah,
90-10.
80-20, yeah, 90-10, yeah.
So who is more authority in just your average day woman? Who has more authority over her? Her husband or her boss?
Her boss.
If her
Your
boss says,
your girlfriends, yeah.
no, if the boss says, okay, today, we got this big thing, mailing going out. I need 100 copies of this. And then I need you to correlate these 100 copies of this and 100 copies of this, put them together in this order, do a cover letter for each one, and mail them out. And then we got a meeting coming up this afternoon. I need you to arrange a conference room, have some rolls, have coffee ready, greet the guests, bring them in, or greet the participants, and just make sure, get it done, make sure it goes right. And if that's her job, she's going to do it. Now, a husband says, okay, I need you to do the laundry today. And please, you know what? I don't want you leaving my shirts in the dryer because they come out wrinkled. I want you to take them out wet and put them on a hanger so they'll dry that way. And then I want you to lightly press any wrinkles. But if you do it right, you can smooth out a lot of those wrinkles before it dries. And then, you know what? I'm bringing home the boss tonight for dinner. Please cook this. We're going to come over. We're going to have drinks. And then, we're going to have the meal at 7:00. And by the way, you're going to need to do some grocery shopping and pick me up 12-pack of beer while you're at it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is the wife going to take that direction from her husband?
Hell no.
But she will take that direction from her
Well,
boss.
okay,
Where does the Bible say a boss has more authority over a woman than her husband? Where does it say that, Nick?
Well, boss has more power.
Nowhere.
Boss is paying her. Well, how they justify it? Okay, he's paying her money. They view all of the marital duties, what you, Steve, mentioned: cook, clean, right, prepare nice dinner, as unpaid labor. So if she's paid the money, everything is monetary with women. They're mercenaries. So if they are paid by their boss and they have their job that allows them to like socialize and have the self-importance there, the idea that the world can't exist without them. So yeah, they're going to comply with what the boss says, but they're not going to do what the husband says. And I already see where some people might think, but well, a woman is virtue signaling and she says that she is more willing to serve her husband than her boss. No, not true. If she's on social media, she's serving social media. She's serving the corporation, not her husband. I mean, this thread wife, LARPing chicks who are like nice outfit, cooking, cleaning, and saying like, I would much rather serve my husband than the boss, But then she just replaced her boss with social media. Her husband is still inferior to her because she won't give up social media for her husband.
It looks like we lost Steve. Oh, he's back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here you go.
My mouse, I brushed it and it hit the button that says, close this thing out.
Oh,
Well, here's the thing. There's no laws against a boss telling his subordinate, even if she's a woman, to do these things. Therefore, there are no laws against a husband telling his woman to do these things.
Yeah, he can tell her to do these things. She's not going to do them, Steve. And there are no
Well,
consequences to that. See, our society doesn't
you know what?
punish women.
Are there? Is it against the law for a man to cut off her allowance? Is it against the law for him to take his paycheck and put it in account in his name only, and then only put $500 in the joint account?
Okay.
And then, I'll take care of the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Is it against the law for him to put
No, Steve, it's not against the law. It's just financial abuse, right?
Oh, no, it's not financial abuse. She can accuse him of financial abuse. And then it goes to a court of law to determine if it really is. Her accusations do not mean it's true.
Yeah, well, good luck. Who wants to go through all of this mess? Like, who wants to deal with this false
because
accusation?
if
Okay,
you
you
don't
have
do
to.
it, you'll go through it anyways.
You don't, nobody wants to do it. Men don't want to do it. And because men don't want to do it, they suffer the consequences. You have to do it. You have to exert this dominance from the beginning in a balanced way. Now, I'm not advocating men be mean tyrants, because remember, I advocate absolutely a man is accountable to God for his actions. He is not accountable to his wife. His wife is a lesser power than God. So to say it's not scandalous to say, no, a man's not accountable to his wife. He's not accountable to a lesser power than he is to a greater power. So it has no bearing. You're not accountable to your wife. Men, you're not accountable to your wife. Your wife is accountable to you. And if she complains about that, say, I'm accountable to God. You're accountable to me. And through me, you're accountable to God. I think I have the harder side of this. So if you expect me to cater to your whims, I suggest you reevaluate or leave.
I agree with you. I wish more men were thinking like you, and I wish more men were implementing your advice. I think it would serve to their benefit to do that, and to the benefit of the family and even women in the long term. Will men do that?
Well, more and more, one man at a time.
Yeah.
And they are waking up. Men are waking up to this reality.
Yeah. This is
Especially
like
young men in the church are waking up to this reality. In the
good.
church, even the one, I pastor, they're all losing their minds that, men are acting like men. And they think, the current theologians are full of crap and they're going back to their forefathers, 1900 years of church history and going back to them saying, no, they were right. We don't like your modern innovative crap. That's not even really biblical.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what Nick is saying, and I'll say it more clearly, the Gen Z men are laughing at the concept of equality. No, we're not going for this equality bullshit. That might mean I don't have a woman because she expects equality. That's not going to happen. And so the consensus of thought in the generations is changing. No, it's not changing the world yet.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm honestly glad to see how many screeching single cat ladies are on social media, whining and complaining where are all the good men. The more they complain, I know that we are doing good job. We bringing more awareness to men, and then men are waking up. They're not wifing up this horse, which is good. For most men, it's safer and it's more rational not to get married today than dealing with a woman who is like, chances are she was never restrained, she was never disciplined by anyone, and like she can put a mask on, she can pretend that she's submissive and all of that on social media. Social media is her boss. It's already a huge red flag. I just don't see any decent women out there, like, honestly. The ones that are decent, they are married, they are not on social media, they stay loyal to their husbands. We never see them, we will never find out about them because they will stay married. Everything else is a crap. We see crap on social media. I'm not kidding you guys. I watch these women every single day. I watch the shit they come up with. I watch the married women, how married women behave. Like, ladies, shame on you. Like, you deserve divorce. You deserve your husband to leave you, take your kids away from you because you are just a slut. You are not worthy of marriage. You are not worthy of the husband who is taking care of you. You are not even worthy of having kids with you so that you can use against him.
What will it take to change this?
Men stop simping for women, even their wives. I mean, I know it's not going to play out well for them, especially if their wives are used to being treated like princesses. And we see so many women say, he's dominating me in a good way, the one that she approves of, right? And then he is not controlling her. He treats her well. He treats her nicely, like a princess. And I'm irreplaceable. He can't replace me. Like, shit, everyone is replaceable. You are a replaceable whore. He can, if he gets fed up with you, he can kick you to the curb.
You started out wrong. You told me what men should stop doing. The question was, what should men do?
Stop simping.
No, that's a stopping. What I want a doing statement.
Well, if she preaches how awesome she is as a wife and how irreplaceable she is as a wife, use her, take advantage of her, 100%. She says these things publicly. Well, then, okay, dominate her, spank her, discipline her at home so that she, she doesn't have that specific desire to be a public whore on social media. Okay. Restrain her.
Okay, so now summarize that in about 4 words.
Mm-hmm.
We got 3 words.
Oh.
And
give her an example of how you summarize it.
She should know this phrase. I've already said it. It's her husband's phrase. Come on.
Oh, like 3 words. Frame uber alles? Is it the one?
There you go. Yep.
Okay, and to explain it, be dominant and restrain her.
Yeah.
Elena used a lot of words.
Well,
how to make it simple.
Steve, fine.
Simple
be dominant and restrain her. Okay, I agree.
That everything will change.
Well,
yeah. Be dominant and restrain her. Frame uber alles. That's what men have to do. Nothing will change. Women will not change until men take that action and take that leadership role.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Women are actually compliant and pliable. Women will accommodate the environment they're in. And if that's the environment she's in, she's going to accommodate that environment or leave.
Okay, here we have, sorry, Steve, we have an interesting comment here from Bare Minimum. I observe women throw themselves at me without dominance, force, or control. I call it masculinity.
Well, you can be a peacock. Peacocking works, just not long term.
Mm-hmm. And look, like, what kinds of women are attracted to you? I'm just curious. Bare Minimum, tell us, you know? Are they the wife material women, or are they the rigid feminists? I don't know.
I think he's got the wrong mental definition of dominance.
Mm-hmm.
This is not overt trying to control somebody else. That's one aspect of dominance. Go back to Genesis. Adam was created. He had the authority to name the animals. Adam had dominion. He was responsible to himself and to God. It was his mission. And then there's a helpmeet to help him in his mission. Yes, he retains dominance, which is the outward aspect of having dominion. That's not abuse, control. It's not this nasty side of things, which is what everybody thinks of. He's his own man. He's a man of honor, and he does what he says, and he has morals and virtues, and he's going to adhere to those and do the right thing regardless of what he says. And if he catches her or observes her not abiding by virtues and morals, he's going to correct her because he is a dominance to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Tacticus here. Respect is essential for hierarchy, order of a house, or gridlock of egalitarian or equality dynamics. Yeah. Oh, and women might even say, they will say, like, all of these things that we suggest here, that we talk about, right? Be dominant, restrain her, and frame uber alles. Women will view these things as abuse. They will not want these things, especially modern women. Most women today, they were never restrained before. They don't see the benefit of being restrained for themselves, even in the long term. So they will accuse men of doing that, but yet they have zero respect for the men who have money, muscles, game, let's say, who are attracting women just because they are so nice and they are not actually dominant, but they are peacocking. So women will
Don't
say those
necessarily have to
things.
be nice, but they just have to be conversational, be able to flirt. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean being dominant, but conversational, able to engage.
Yeah, but
Game.
essentially, you can be dominance does not mean you should be mean to women. No.
Nope.
And the modern mind says, oh, he's a dominant man. Oh, that really means that he's being mean to women and he's advocating that. No, the hell I am. Absolutely not.
Although some
Okay, so
women, some
we've been
women
talking
would
about-
need, some women would need mean men to handle them. This is why we see the
Okay, but
hybristophilia, and then women are
I-
attracted to powerful men. It just happens.
Okay,
There's
I don't care
a
about
lot
those
of
women.
No, but let's say this. Some of these guys might be out, trying to engage with a woman. Is she manageable? Or is she too far gone that you'd have to go to extremes to even try to kind of manage this woman with, dominance, but not trying to be domineering? Sometimes you just have to say, no, not going there, and move on. That woman is not worth your attention. She will bring hell into your life. And there's no amount of managing her that will ever work. You just have to say, no thanks, goodbye.
So what are humans? Humans are animals too. He says here, dominance is needed while functioning in the animal brain. We are we are just
Men
more
are
sophisticated form of
masculine.
animals.
I have dominion over my own life
Mhm.
and the things that are under my control. And if I'm gifted with children, I have to have dominion over them because I'm the head. I'm not operating in my animal brain. God put me in this position. Dominance is the trait of being at the top of a hierarchy. That's not an animal brain thing. There is no equality. We don't discuss things. A marriage is not a democracy. Your
Mhm.
job is not a democracy. You don't get to form a consensus with your boss as to how he does his job. No, it's a hierarchy. You do what you're told. And if it goes bad, primarily he's responsible.
Well, Steve, here is for you. He says hierarchy is animal behavior.
Oh,
We have
creation.
a fun
Yeah,
one today.
you can handle this. Is creation animal behavior?
Mm. Is natural law animal behavior?
Does hierarchy exist, or is it a man made thing based on animal behavior?
Why do we even listen to judges? I want- Tell the judge, hey, this is just animal behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to work out very well.
You know that thing that we all do when we're driving a car? And we come up to a light and it goes from green to red. We stop. That's because of a law that someone somewhere created. That's a hierarchy, and I have to abide by that law. You know what? That's only there because of animal behavior. I don't have to follow that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hierarchies exist. Get over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, here is delusion animal behavior. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to call this out real quick.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
You mean authority exists? For to appeal an authority, it presupposes authority, which presupposes a hierarchy. The whole use of this appeal to authority fallacy itself self-refutes. We're not appealing to authority, but nonetheless, for this to exist, authority has to exist, hence a hierarchy. The argument falls flat on its face.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's stop doing the comments. Let's keep
Yeah.
going on.
Let's
So,
do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
how is patriotism the last refuge for men?
I have an article for you guys that I like to share. Okay, so I shared it with you in the chat. Okay, I don't know if you can you see it? Let me try to zoom it in. I don't know if I can even zoom it in. Anyway, so here,
Put your mouse over the page,
yes, I'm here. Uh-huh.
hold down the control key, and then
Control.
use the scroll button.
Okay, Steve, thank you. You can see it, right?
Much better, yes.
Much better. Awesome. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So it was written by Nick Duffel. So here, on the evening of April 7th, 1775, when Samuel Johnson made this famous pronouncement, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel, he wasn't saying, I think that it was wrong to love your country. Indeed, this is what Steve was reading in another article, right? Dr. Johnson was renowned for combining robust patriotic enthusiasm with his enlightenment and tender conscience that championed the rights of men and women and even animals worldwide. Okay. Let's just, oh no. Okay. The key to understanding Johnson's controversial statement is in the central word refuge. The patriotic urge, I suspect he was saying, is frequently underpinned by an unexamined refuge instinct we cling to when we are going, when the going gets the tough. Sorry, guys, can't read today. Okay. I'm trying to skim through it because he kind of spends a lot of time. Okay, here. The retreat to nationalism is often a flight movement born out of the mobilization of the sympathetic branch of our autonomic nervous system, our inner instinctual safety mechanism. In times of fear or unconsciously anxiety, the tough gets going, as we know. Psychologically, we close our hearts, experience other people as other, and the world as hostile. We fly to where we can wall ourselves in and be safe. Okay, in the world of ideas, this translates as retreat to the known, even in the face of contradictory evidence, because of the fear and the demonization of others that ensure prevents self-reflection. Our most ancient instincts, sometimes called reptilian, overwhelm the neocortex, where already our visual systems are scanning for those who look different to us. Socially, the tribal response is usually to shoot first and ask questions later. Larger political units exist essentially to overcome these instincts and maintain semi-porous national boundaries, as Jared Diamond patiently explained in The World Until Yesterday. So he kind of tries to look at it from a psychological standpoint. Okay, we go. Here, our self-preserving instincts, however, are not the end of our story. There is evolution too. We now know that consciousness itself is subject to evolution, both on a macro and micro scale. We see this every day.
Subject to evolution.
Well, you can, yeah, feel free to stop. Yeah. Okay. So here we know how that consciousness itself is subject to evolution, both on a micro and micro scale. We see this every day in group psychotherapy. When people feel safe, listened to, and make an effort, they begin to open their hearts to one another. He's kind of way too emotional about it. Okay. When they start to deal creatively with difference, to recognize they have been projecting and blaming because they have been run around by their fears, their perspective on the world begins to shift dramatically. They now inhabit a new world, and the neuropsychology aligns accordingly. On the other hand, when people are fighting for survival, as Maslow told us, and especially if their fears have been overstimulated, personal evolution isn't an option. This applies both to the socially deprived and to the hyper-rationally educated elites I have written about in Wounded Leaders. Okay. On the macro scale, it's evident that our shrinking world implies the imperative to embrace difference. This is not simply some postmodernist call for plurality, but a realistic necessity. Okay, guys, I don't know. Let's look into the Great Deception here. Like I read it a few days ago, and okay, here.
Okay, what? He used a lot of words.
He uses a lot of words. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry.
I have no idea what he's saying. Could you summarize? What is he trying to say? What's his point?
Okay, I'm not even sure. Hold on. There was a point here that I think was pretty interesting from the psychological standpoint when he talked about different identities and political identities that people associate themselves with. Yes, guys, he is very wordy. He uses a lot of words, and I don't remember exactly where he would start because here, identity and belonging. Okay, I should have gone to this one. I'm sorry, I just forgot it. It was a few days ago when I read it. Okay, and then since then I read a bunch of other stuff. So okay, what both mainstream and progressive views on identity politics, nationalism, and identity in general have in common, though the latter thankfully lack the attendant aggression of the former, is a simplistic concept of identity as a phenomenon. In particular, both seem to miss the paradox of identity's inescapable psychic domination that sits side by side with its dynamic, expansive, and evolutionary potential. La 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 la. Okay, identity is the central question in human psychology. It affects all our thinking and behavior. Okay, so here I actually made a couple of notes from here. So equipped with a reflexive neocortex, the human animal, talking about animals, right, is permanently searching for identity, whether he knows it or not. Our minds are constantly posing the question, "Who am I?" So it's no surprise that some spiritual methodologies concentrate uniquely on intentionally repeating and reflecting on this question. And it's near impossible to switch this "who am I" function off. Our minds always have some answer, for they are endlessly associating our identities with qualities. For example, each time we look into the mirror, we inevitably generate an automatic commentary on
Elena,
what we
are
see
women
there.
always on a journey to find themselves?
Well, exactly. This is kind of what this is what he's describing here. And
Oh,
therefore,
and
who we
okay, I have
are.
a question.
Hmm.
How does this point relate to the original phrase?
Well, okay, we are getting there, Steve. Hold on. Okay. So, let me.
I think Steve's about the same boat I am.
I know, guys. I'm sorry. This is the article that I found on that topic. Okay, let's see here. On a societal level, staying away from political for a moment, someone who doesn't feel particularly valued in their community may displace their identity issues into some commercial brand or leisure identity. Advertising and marketing take full advantage of this, so that those who wear a t-shirt displaying a little crocodile feel perhaps they belong to a more valuable group, and those who wear a particular scent feel more beautiful, or those who support a particular football team feel more powerful. Okay, he gets into psychology, how it's related, and I did leave a couple of comments. I did summarize it back when I was reading it, guys.
This
So,
reminds me of something that I've experienced in the past.
mhm.
After listening to my ex-wife talk for 10 or 15 minutes, I'll finally interrupt and say, okay, but what's the point? She says, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I know. Okay, here I did summarize it, guys. Here, Steve, regarding this article, it's in our text. It reminds me of MAGA with the American flag. So how it relates to patriotism, it's that sense of belonging that people have, or same as Somalians, rebellious women and simpicaks. They all want to belong to a group, and I think he even gets like later into this. Yeah, guys, you can read this article. I just don't want to, we already spent so much time because I forgot where it was.
Well, there's a lot of words here. Yeah, okay. Patriotism. Patriot is an ideology. It's saying, who am I? Oh, I'm a patriot.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you change and adopt this new identity? It's simple. The identity exists. And if I adopt this identity, I can be part of the club. And here's my motivation: I avoid accountability for past behavior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The motivation is avoiding accountability and wrapping yourself in the flag of patriotism, or the wrapping yourself in Christianity. God forgives me, you should. We see this in everyday politics.
Yeah.
If things get too heated at home, too much controversies here, let's go to war.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does a leader of a country take his nation to war as a distraction to avoid uncomfortable situations at home? I'm not saying that's happening here now. It might be. It might not be. But it's
Well,
happened in the past.
I think it depends also on the trends. Like if people see that something is booming and something is popular, gives them more advantage, give them more credibility. I mean, in the social standpoint, where we see women are LARPing, the Tredcon church whores feel they belong to MAGA, or something great, or God himself, even when we look at the church whores, right? Uh,
It's
yeah.
it's narrative control, but more in a masculine sense. More historically, men are the more political, more militarized. Not saying women aren't now. No, I don't think they should be, but whatever. Is versus ought. Okay, look, men can wrap themselves in MAGA patriotism, going to war while trying to ignore what's happening at home. Except right now, it's probably not working as it used to. There's too much
Mm-hmm.
pattern recognition now. They've done it too much and too often.
Yeah. Well, and
You
he
can
is
only
also.
do something. You can only
Mhm.
do something every so often. Otherwise, people tend to notice patterns.
Mhm.
Now the pattern, what we're going on right now, people are recognizing the pattern. Wrapping yourself in patriotism, it might sway a few right now, but actually, it's not having the result that people think it's having. Not like it did in 2003. Not like how
Time
we've
will
been doing.
tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell. I tend to agree with you, Nick. You're predicting the conclusion. You're
Mhm.
saying it's not working. We'll see. I hope it's not
Yeah, I could be
working.
wrong.
I don't think it's going to work, but we can't, it's not a firm conclusion right now because it could work.
That's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah, well, check these guys. He also talks about multiple identities that people have. It appears that we humans are subject to two rather different pools that govern our identity. One is rather static, um, and incontrovertible need to
Controversial.
belong. Sorry, breaking my tongue here. Incontrovertible need to belong and a tendency to want to maintain fairly fixed identities in order to have a sense of who we are and therefore avoid cognitive dissonance and function as well. Okay, I'll have some examples for you here. But a second force acts on us too. We also have a dynamic capacity to expand our identities and increase our sense of belonging and thereby jettison fear-based identity compensations such as national
Yeah.
chauvinism. Mhm.
Okay, stop right there. It's like we just all need to get along, and your nature and your ethnicity and your people are just um, products of chance and evolution. You don't really have to have a national identity. Bull crap.
It's,
Mhm.
You're
hey,
all
Nick, national identity is just a social construct.
no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Actually, look. I'll go Bible. In the Bible, God established the boundaries of the nations. They tend to have certain cultures, certain language, certain beliefs, which can change, certain skin colors, even certain genetic traits.
But, Nick, yes, there's Germany, there's France, there's a border between them.
Yeah.
We just think that Germans speak German and the French speak French. Those languages are just social constructs. There is no difference between the German and the French. Oh, that makes no sense, Nick. I guess nationality and identity uh, is not always a social construct.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So having a different biology, different language. It's just a social construct. Hey, morality can be just a social construct. Why not even logic itself? It's just a social construct. That'll evolve as well. We'll get past 2 + 2 = 4 because if we want to belong well enough, it could equal 5.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And here he says it's evolutionary, but it's so difficult to engage as is often thought. In fact, we can have multiple overlapping identities that fit us tightly, like the skins of an onion, or that can wear more or less loosely. Okay, and then he uses his
I
own
think
case.
this guy is just all over the map. I
I
can't
think so. Like
understand
there is,
how this
yeah.
relates to the phrase in the title of his article. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. What the hell are we talking about? Identities and where the hell are you
Well,
going?
maybe it's
You
in
took a simple
relation.
statement and you write 2,000 words that confuses the hell out of me, and I don't know where you're going. Bring this plane in for a landing, please.
Oh, okay, conclusion. Okay, I'm going to, because I'll skip reading this one. Okay, stop sharing. I know. Conclusion: the more identities you hold, the harder it is for you to be sane and avoid cognitive dissonance. In psychology, we have multiple personality disorder. I kind of related to that. Like, too many identities can be very confusing, and in a way, if you're familiar with multiple personality disorder, you are trying to do too much, and it's kind of what I see with women. And some of these identities, they contradict each other. So her female nature is she's a whore. She wants to be dominated by a masculine man, but her identity one is I'm a rebellious whore, a rigid feminist. I want what I want, my body, my choice, right? I fuck around with bad boys, sisterhood to Borealis. Me too. Okay. Second identity she has. It's time for me to settle down. I want a traditional husband who would serve me. So she goes to MAGA, right? Or Tredcons or Tredwives. She becomes the church whore. And then Bible and Jesus. I found Jesus, right? The third identity. I want clout and attention on social media. Social media fempreneur, right? Female alliances and conferences. The fourth one. I'm a mother of 1 to 7 little ones, and we see they posted occasionally how many kids they have. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. The fifth one, I want protection and security. Man up, save me, and serve me better against. So she's kind of like against immigration, we would think, but not really. The sixth identity, let's invite immigrants in because everyone deserves to be happy, right? All inclusive politics. And then seventh, I'm a godly woman who loves Jesus. And then it's, I preach the Bible on social media. I'm a content creator. And like, you look with how they what they choose to do, and like how much they want to embrace it. There is so much contradiction between those identities. So the conclusion is, the more identities you have, the more chaotic you are. Yeah, the more like multiple personality disorders you have, in a way. I mean, it's not the right like psychologists would not approve of this, but it's the analogy, of multiple personalities that they try to resemble. By embracing so many identities, they kind of embrace multiple personalities as well. So they can be one thing in church, but then on social media they act differently. They can be a contentious wife behind the scenes, nobody sees it, but they present themselves as this virtuous godly woman. And then like all of these contradicting ideas, that they can't make sense of. Yeah, this kind of promotes having he's trying to promote having balance between these identities later, like throughout the article. But he's also pro globalization and against tribalism.
Okay.
In the article, I want to say this: nowhere is there mention natural law, objective morality, objective reasoning. It's all based on this time change and flux, which itself has no morality, no logic. And yet you're going to impose this so-called anti-nationalistic, anti-tribalistic, globalist morality with
Mhm.
no clothes.
And it was nowhere did it touch on the classical interpretation that people do this to avoid accountability.
Mhm. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
or as what I read at the beginning, it's pretended patriotism. It's not real patriotism.
Mhm. It's pretended.
And
Yeah.
it's a cover for selfish or corrupt motives. The guy never touches on the classical interpretation of this phrase. He's off in La La Land.
He's
Now,
in La La Land, but
maybe it
he
makes sense in La La Land related to something else,
Steve,
but I don't see
you
how
don't
it
see the
flows.
connection. I can understand the psychology behind what he is saying. This is why I only picked the last 2 points where he was talking about
What
identity
is deep
politics and
psychology with no basis of normalcy? If everything's from evolution is in flux, going from nothing, going nowhere, what is normative? And how do you call something a deficiency or a disease or whatever else you would call it being abnormal?
Mhm.
Abnormal is normal because there are no norms. But he can't assert any norms except the ones he comes up with out of his ass.
Yeah,
Which, if there is no hierarchy, Nick, what he pulls out of his ass is just as valid as what comes from God.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that the last refuge for scoundrel is coming back to that phrase. The patriotism is the last refuge for a scoundrel. Um, when they want to just in the name to be associated with a group, it's a sense of belonging, and then it's avoiding accountability. It's giving them this kind of validation where they are pro certain things and they claim these things publicly, and then people applaud to them and they say, well, okay, now it's trendy, it's socially acceptable to do all of those things. If the trends change, because it's pretentious, and we know that it's pretentious, right? Will their beliefs change too? Like, will they be promoting
So,
something else?
so if we apply this to Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
last refuge of a slut, and she changes identities
Mm-hmm.
and she identifies as a Christian.
Yeah.
Is that being pretentious for her?
Yes, absolutely. This is why I brought up these identities that are contradicting each other, because when you look at it from her phases, right? She's in her whole phase, and she employs multiple identities to serve her goals, what she wants to achieve there. They all give her what she wants at a certain period of time. So right
It's
now,
all on her journey, right, Nick?
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Right now, being a Christian woman benefits her because she gets long-term protection and security from a man who wives her up. So she's going to wear that mask. She's going to be, yeah, pro MAGA. It's awesome. Patriarchy is great. Feminism is so evil. It's so horrible. I want a dominant man who leads me where I want to go, right?
When she's saying that, are you allowed to criticize any of her past behavior?
Of course not in your mind. Because now she's a reformed woman. She's a
She
transformed
finally
wife.
saw the light.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
her actions when she was living in darkness don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Now look, I'll talk about the unicorn. There are Hey, look, if some women were like that and they did repent and they shut up, they're not on social media, they're not out
Mhm.
publicly preaching, they're actually following It could be genuine, it could not be. It's out there. I do believe, women can be regenerated and saved and sanctified as a Christian would. It doesn't erase past behavior. There is forgiveness, but that doesn't mean you put her up on a pedestal. It doesn't mean she should be out preaching everywhere. She should simply shut up and live a quiet, submissive life.
Mm-hmm.
What Nick is saying is that true repentance does exist. It is possible. It exists. But just because someone, be it man or woman, claims to be repentant and talks about it, does not mean they have real repentance. Now, how do you identify? Okay, it's really not our job, but how do you discern between the actions of a person who might be exhibiting this fake repentance, and you always wonder, is it real? There's one virtue that you can look for. That's a virtue, humility.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not acting with humility, don't trust them. If they're saying, I, by the grace of God, have found the solution, and I used to be the most horrendous sinner, and now I've seen the light. Let me tell you how you should now live. Because now that I have the answer, I just have to share it.
Yeah, right.
That's not being humble. That's not showing humility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
The wisdom does not come from accepting Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior and becoming a Christian or being baptized. Yeah, it might wipe away sins and all that stuff, but it doesn't give you the wisdom or the authority to preach others.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to just live your faith. Just practice it in silence with humility.
Yeah.
And just be in awe of the forgiveness that was extended to you by God, who is the greatest being in existence. Just be in awe of you were living in sin, and now you've been saved. You've been redeemed. You've been redeemed by the man, true God, true man, who came here, gave his very life in atonement. You need to understand the great gift. And if you understand that gift, you're going to act with humility. It's not your job to save the world. That's God's job.
Mm-hmm.
Just have some humility. Oh, how long? Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe
Lifetime.
5 years, maybe the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You should just practice humility.
I don't think people are capable of that, Steve. It's like I look at how a lot of these women. Oh, Nick, by the way, I did share your video on who is supposed to preach in church with some women. The ones who are preaching publicly. Okay, guys, I have an idea, and I did leave you a comment there under the video. So just because women are not supposed to preach in church, does it give them the authority to preach elsewhere publicly?
No.
Thank you. Ladies, I keep saying it and I'll say it again. The moment you start preaching publicly, you assume the female pastor role. I don't care the convention where you preach. Just because it's not church, you are still quoting the Bible publicly. Even if you write a few sentences from the Bible on Twitter or elsewhere, it's still not appropriate. You're not supposed to do that. You're violating God's design and hierarchy, right, Pastor Buns?
I don't really have a problem if they're quoting scripture publicly, but when they start admonishing people and doing all that, yeah, just kind of shut up. And that's usually for in Scripture talks about the older women. What do they tell the older women to do? Women are supposed to be, if they're supposed to say anything, talk not to preach and to talk to their husbands at home. The husbands are supposed to teach them. And it talks about the older women in the church telling women to basically serve their husbands, love their husbands and children, to be quiet, basically. Not to
Mhm.
be tattlers going up and down with quick feet, um, making a public display.
Yeah,
Not to make a public display.
not to make it public
I'm not saying it's
display.
wrong to quote scripture.
But when they
Yeah.
say, like, when they even say, they often, okay, this is the problem that I have with women preaching publicly on social media and even quoting the Bible. They are lacking the context, the historical biblical context. They misinterpret it, they twist it, they spin it. They
Yes,
don't
they
talk
do.
about, they don't talk about obedience to your husband. Okay, they prioritize different things, you know. And this is where I'm really, like, I'm really struggling. I spent to a lot of time talking to you guys, and I've been reading the Bible, and I've been asking you questions, and you know, it just I just think that it's not appropriate even for aged women. And they say, well, I'm an aged woman, I'm not doing it for money, I'm not doing it for clout, I'm just trying to spread the wisdom and the biblical truth with younger women. Younger women can read the Bible and ask their questions to their husbands. Why do they have to ask you?
Good point.
For your interpretation, right? So that you
No,
can kind of brainwash them and direct them where you want them to go, instead of them listening to your husband. Why don't you listen to your husband yourself?
Because he's
I mean,
not dominant.
oh, well, but like they say that godly women do this. See, I'm a godly woman, I do this. Well, all you do is, if the definition of a godly woman is the woman who preaches Bible, who interprets the Bible her way, right? Who omits certain parts from the Bible that don't validate her points and her beliefs that she's trying to spread onto younger women because she's an aged woman. Like, what are you doing?
But Elena, what about the woman that is so godly and full of wisdom that she can tell her husband how he should lead her?
Yeah, right. Then she's not as godly based on the biblical standards because she's not listening to her husband. She's the one telling him what she should do. And all of these preaching ladies publicly on social media, I have a big problem with them.
Oh, would the criteria be they lack humility?
Of course they do. They're the ones who are not, in many cases, they don't even bring up their husbands as authoritative figure. They're like, okay, God says this, and see, I'm here doing all of these things, I'm so godly, you listen to me, do what I tell you to do. They may use a different language, guys, they may not be as direct, the context
you know,
is that.
I
Have
dealt
you
with
heard
this
that?
when I was pastoring in the OPC, Orthodox Presbyterian Church. They bring these stupid heretical ladies and they send them
Mhm.
around to churches to speaking conferences. A lot of these women want to get popular enough that they can monetize and get speaking conferences to tell all the women what to do. And
Mhm.
what do they usually turn women into? More vile feminists,
Yeah.
disobedient to their husbands, nagging, thinking they know better than their husbands because, oh, my friend over here told me that she went to seminary and she went on our denomination's speaking conference. And now I know better than you, husband. Oh, I know better than you, pastor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're
Have you?
taking
You know,
the historical biblical context, what was written in the Bible, the time that it was written on, out of context, completely out of context.
Have you heard the song, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble"? The lyrics from that song are wonderful. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror because I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. I mean, he's obviously poking fun at things,
Mhm.
but it's amazing. A lot of people really kind of have that attitude.
We do. It sounds like the majority of your Christian women in the church today. I'm not saying men can't fall in this category. Some men do. But the way they set these women up on a pedestal, they can do no wrong. They're innocent little
Mhm.
angels. And if it's there's a problem, it's because their husband's not loving them up at home.
Mhm. Yeah, I see a lot of these women, and the what really frustrates me is, according to the Bible, right? If we are talking about the Christian people, they are not supposed to listen to women. According to the biblical hierarchy,
No,
like, you know.
no. The church is not supposed to listen really to women, except in like extraordinary cases, in general. The problem is the women don't even listen to their husbands, but the husbands listen to the women. Okay, now should a husband listen to his wife? Yes. And there's a certain way she's supposed to approach her husband, which we did in I think the second episode we did on William Googe, Wifely Duties Part 2.
Mhm.
There's a certain way. It's in the book if it's not in that Part 2 episode we did. There's a certain way a wife is supposed to approach a woman. And that's exemplified in Abigail. And every woman thinks they're Abigail, and they're usually just nagging harpies to get the woman.
Here,
But
Nick,
hey, you say, yeah,
Tacticus
pick
says,
me
"Pick
humility.
me humility."
No, there's a
Hey, you
humble
know
way,
what?
a respectful way
That
to
might work.
approach your husband if there's something you want. If you see something you disagree with, there's a humble way to approach your husband. That's not
Mhm.
that's not rejecting his authority. That's actually respectful and asking him, say, hey, I think this is what God's word tells us to do, and I just want to bring that. There's a humble way to bring that to him.
Yeah, bring it to your husband, not to publicly. We don't need to. We don't
Yeah.
need to see this. Nobody needs to hear this. See,
Hey,
are you saying something?
I want to bring it back to something we were talking about in the beginning. Tacticus, Tacticus says, pick me humility. Test her humility. Saying, okay, you're getting a spanking. Now, if she rebels against that, she really doesn't have humility.
Yeah. I doubt these church ladies who are quoting the Bible, they were ever spanked in their lives. They never talk about restraint. They never talk about obedience to your husband in everything. They all are about, like, Jesus. Jesus wants you to do this. Jesus is the superstar. He's the hero. Like, you just love him. You do what he tells you to do. And then you build a better connection with Jesus. The husband is not even mentioned there. How do I know she has zero respect for her man based on the little things that she told about her man, about her husband, and like how she preaches, like what she says to younger women. Nowhere there in her words she says that no, the hierarchy, first comes God, then a man, then a woman. A woman can only find Jesus and go through her husband. She can't build a direct connection by herself. No, that the importance of a man, the male authority, is so diminished. And these are the church ladies who are doing it, the older, the aging women who are teaching wisdom to younger women.
Yeah, but what if this whole hierarchy and patriarchy is just a social construct? It's based on animal behavior. What if it's just artificial and there is no hierarchy? And that's just an excuse for men to practice mean dominance of women, which is really the essence of the patriarchy. So we should listen to women because they're people too, and they have insight.
Hmm. I don't think so, but okay.
Hey,
I mean, you
that's
can
the
listen.
argument that's
You can
going to be
listen.
used against a man asserting his headship.
Dominance, yeah. I don't
So,
care
you
what
know
the
what?
woman thinks.
Come up with you got to think this through as a man. Do you
Yeah.
believe that argument? If not,
I
all
don't
you got to
think
do is
people.
say, no, we're not
No.
doing that. And then just act like a man.
Yeah.
Steve,
I don't. Go
this is
ahead.
what you do if you have a kid, right? He says, "Screw you, Dad. There's no hierarchy."
Uh-huh.
Guys, does this work? Is that reality?
Well,
Or are you
based
just
on
going
the
to be
based.
so ignorant of nature, so ignorant of reality? Oh, everything's just evolution. So, I'm just going to let my kid do whatever the hell he wants. And since hierarchy is just not a concept, I really don't have to feed him. I don't have to feed my kids. I don't have to correct them. I'm just going to let them run around with pooped
No,
pants.
it's
And,
slavery,
if they
Nick.
get sick, that's on them because there's no hierarchy.
You are still supposed to feed them. You are still supposed to provide for them and take care of them, but you have zero authority over them. There is
Yes.
no hierarchy in that regard. That, yeah, you are still a slave. You do what they want you to do, right? What kids need, but then you can't tell them anything. You can't say no to them. It's the same
Right. Because
as
what
with
Elena
women.
is saying is responsibility exists, even if hierarchy is a man-made thing. You cannot escape responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, men are deemed to have greater responsibility than women.
Yeah. And they have less authority right now. They have less authority over women and over their children. Because what this guy was saying, that like no hierarchy, like under the current legal system,
No,
like
why should I have responsibility? Who's telling me I have responsibility if there's no hierarchy?
that's a great question. This is why I'm wondering, like, why would men sign up for this intentionally when they know that okay, they have a bunch of responsibility for all of these things, for their family members, for their wives, kids, right? And then they have zero authority. They have no hierarchy, right? It's like, come on.
Right.
It makes
And
no
young men are not signing up for
sense.
marriage because of the exact thing. Yeah, I'm signing up for responsibility and I have no authority.
Yeah. You're signing
No
up
thanks.
for slavery. Like Rollo Tomasi says, responsibility without authority is slavery. This is what men are signing up for. Even with these virtuous stay-at-home wives and mothers who want to be home, without the restraint that women need socially, legally, and otherwise, also by their husbands, there is marriage is slavery for men.
And that means a hierarchy.
Yeah, without the hierarchy, marriage is
No.
slavery.
And
No,
a
it's still a
hierarchy.
hierarchy.
Yes, and a hierarchy requires force to maintain the hierarchy.
Well, I would say that it's still
Go ahead.
maybe a
Inescapable.
hierarchy, but it's still
inescapable.
you know what, when they say, well, there is no hierarchy, they what they really are saying is there is no his hierarchy, but there is your hierarchy. It's still hierarchy. It's just reversed, not according to God, and not according to the natural law. A man is operating under her hierarchy. She's in charge. She's dominating. She's telling him what to do.
In actuality, she won't claim that. She'll just say we're equal.
Yeah, right. But we all know what
But-
equal means.
What equal means, she gets veto power.
Mm-hmm.
He can't veto anything. She has veto power, but they're equal. Really? I guess that means she's really in charge.
She is in charge, yes.
Now, this is not by law. This is by this concept. This, what I just described, is a social construct. A man has the authority. It comes from God. It cannot be taken from him. It must be surrendered. He can surrender this because of the perceived laws and all that, or he can retain it and act accordingly. Now, if he acts accordingly, there are risks. But the risks of acting accordingly and using your authority are no greater than the risks of not using your authority.
Mm-hmm. Check this.
And the bad boys, the Chads and Tyrones, do you think they're being nice to women? Do you think they're using dominance? Do you think 80% of the women want those guys because they're dominant and they're exciting? All the things that the lower 80% of men are not? You think it's all money, muscles, and game? No, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Here, Toxicus says, lab hierarchy equals matriarchy masquerading as pseudo-patriarchy. Very true. Yeah. Or when they say there is no hierarchy or we are equals, it's still matriarchy. They might even be pro-patriarchy, but based on their actions, this is why I get very frustrated with people who are only criticizing feminism and doing nothing. We all know what feminism is, right? It's not just propaganda. It's the supportive structure that enables feminism, that enables female rebellion against male authority. And we choose to do nothing with it. You remove the supporting structure, you remove the laws that support women, that empower women, you remove social media or limited restraint, we won't be able to completely eliminate it. Okay, let's be realistic here. But you restrain women socially and legally, along with men being more dominant in the house, which would help men, most men, to be more dominant and say, no, we are not doing this. Because a lot of men are just, I think that they are scared of saying no to their wives because they know that their wives at any moment, especially if they have kids, they can take them to the cleaners and men will lose access to their kids. This is why men maybe are not willing to execute upon their like natural authority in the house.
And because he didn't have authority from the beginning.
Exactly.
Implementing it in the middle of, after multiple years of being a passive man, is likely to result in that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me summarize his situation. He's fucked.
Yeah.
And not physically. Financially, his future is fucked, but he's not getting any.
Mm-hmm.
He has no options at this point, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, he could try to restrain her, but then she could destroy his family and she could destroy him financially, and then chances of him not seeing his kids are very high. I can't blame men for not being dominant enough, because it's like when you look at it realistically, like, but what can they do?
I mean, and if he just goes along to get along, to stay with his kids,
mm-hmm.
she is going to leave him and file and destroy his life anyway, in the majority of cases.
True, yeah.
If he asserts dominance, he's going to lose.
Yes. If he doesn't assert dominance, he's going to lose.
If he goes along to get along, she's eventually going to tire of him, because who wants to live with a passive
Yeah, that's
subservient
true.
man. Women lose respect for the man and then get contemptuous of such a weak man, and then he gives her the ick, and then she wants to get away. So he's going to lose either way.
Yeah,
So
I
at that
understand.
point,
Yeah.
his
Yeah, I
only
understand.
option is to start asserting his independence, making himself financially independent, unwinding the social enmesh or the financial enmeshment, and
Mhm.
preparing for the inevitable. Are men
Yeah.
going to do this? Hell no, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to wait till they're blindsided.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, and then say that I never saw it coming. How dare she
Yep.
is? Yeah. The red flags are always there, gentlemen, if you are willing to open your eyes and remove bananas from your ears and actually pay attention to what happens.
A lot of them were never taught, and they
Mm-hmm.
find out the hard
Yeah. Well, then welcome to the red pill.
way. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, okay, I think it's a good time for us to wrap it up. I think it was an interesting conversation. I want to show you the latest episode of Anita Mockets, okay?
All right.
So let's see here. I'm going to, oops, hold on, let me do this, okay, before we start. Previously on Anita Mockets saga. Why don't you marry? These are the options men have today. Not all women are like that. Men should still get married. Yes, I agree with Pastor Kieran. Me too. I agree with Pastor Kieran. 100% agree with Pastor Kieran. Of course we do. Ladies, today we'll talk about how to lock down a good traditional man. Look forward to it. Me too. Let's do it. A man locks into the woman who gives him peace, respect, and appreciation to build the kingdom for his queen. Do you want power and influence in your marriage? Of course. It would be nice. Yes, I do. Hell no. Elena, you should leave. Why? I'll stay. Then behave yourself. Ladies, if you want power and control, then you need to master regulated feminine energy that makes a man rise, provide, and lead. Where you want to go? Elena, second warning. Shut up, Elena, we are listening. Elena, we are trying to learn here. Okay, I'm quiet. Please continue, Pastor Kieran. Remember, submission is not weakness. It's your power, strategy, emotional intelligence, and understanding of how men are wired. It's how you get from men what you want. A traditional masculine man responds to your softness and femininity. Your power is not in screaming at him. It's in shaping the environment and his behavior that allow him to thrive, lead, and cherish you. Your feminine energy is very powerful. So stop acting like a man and instead lean into your softness through calmness and grace. That's when men lock in, not because you forced it, but because you inspired him. Then once you do that, you won't be chasing control because you already have it. All she said is control him gently and he will be your leading slave forever. Occasionally throw him a bone, love bomb him, and he will treat you like a princess. Not what I said. Bullshit. We know the truth, right, guys? I don't care. I want what I want. Me too. Feminism is evil. If feminism doesn't work for us, then we'll try femininity instead. I'm sure you will. Elena, you are no longer welcomed in our church. Please leave and never come back. Okay, I just thought that your church was all-inclusive for everyone, no? Our church is for nice people who love Jesus, not misogynists. Got you. Here you go, guys.
Yeah, well, I'd like to summarize that. Tolerant people are tolerant of other tolerant people, but they're justifiably intolerant of intolerant people.
Okay.
In other words, as long as you agree with me, you're welcome. If you don't agree with me,
Mm-hmm.
you are the devil and get out of here. So
Mm-hmm.
all are welcome here. You know, a church that says all are welcome. If you're anti-rainbow, are you welcome there?
No.
No, because you're an intolerant person, and tolerant people do not have to be tolerant of intolerant people.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, but that's the reason why good men leave church today. You know, they see what happens there, what women do there, and say, no, not dealing with this bullshit. So, yeah. Well, where is Nick? We lost Pastor Nick here.
Here,
Ah, are
I'm
you
here.
here? Okay. What did you like the episode?
It was good.
Good. Okay.
I enjoyed
Awesome.
it.
So what are you guys
Right,
doing
just
when?
telling women how to manipulate better.
Yeah, exactly. It's a femininity. This is what femininity is. I did say that femininity is bullshit. It's based on your overinflated GPS, and it's essentially teaching women how to control and manage men gently. Yeah, don't buy into this bullshit, guys. Yeah, what are you doing on Wednesday?
I'm leading
Mm-hmm.
the
It's going to be
five flavors of male delusion.
awesome. I'm looking forward to this one. That would be interesting. Only 5 levels?
I'm a man. I like to summarize it. I'm
I
not
know.
Elena. Come up with 15 points when 3 would do.
Well, okay. I'm just curious how many points, how many levels of female delusion are out there.
Elena, it's all in how you define things.
Okay.
So pick a number between 1 and 5.
Okay, 5. Okay. 1 and 5. I'll think about it. It will be
No, just no, do it now.
for women, delusions.
No, just pick a number. Pick a number, 1 and 5 inclusive. So is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, I understand what you are
Just pick a
trying to
number.
do
I
there.
don't care which one you pick.
Well, I'm trying to categorize women into
Don't do that.
different
Just pick a
levels.
number.
Okay, let's stick with maybe 3 or 4.
Okay, a number is not 2 numbers.
Well, okay. Let's stick
You
with
can't
3.
be okay, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's only 3 categories, now I get to define my categories in
Uh-huh.
such a general way that it includes everybody. Now, if you say there's 5 categories, oh, now I may need to make finer distinctions, but I can still do it in 5 categories. I don't
I
need
see.
15 categories because category 14 is actually a subset of category 3. And
I see.
category 11 is a subset of category 4. So I could just change the definitions to actually shrink the number to whatever I have because I'm building the case. So when I say 5 flavors, yeah, okay, I'm going to concentrate on 5 things. Could there be outliers? Of course.
Okay,
That
5
doesn't,
levels. Mm-hmm.
but that's how I come up with this. It's a conceptual thing.
Conceptual.
So I don't need to define everything that exists in the universe. I come up with 5 and that covers 90% of the cases. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I understand. It's hard for me. I'll try. I'll keep working on it, guys.
Okay, this is just an illustration that the male mind is different than the female mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Don't expect a woman to define things and see things the way a man does. Not all men see things this way either. But
Yeah.
women are not going to come up with highly precise analytical categories, defined and all that. That is the purview of the male mind.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, guys, join the Resurgence of Sanity on Wednesday at 5:45 p.m. Pacific on their YouTube channel. It's going to be fun. And we'll see you all next time. Please like, share, and subscribe. And join us for more interesting activities and discussions here. Okay? Take care, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. Bye.
We've really got it all, and you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elenasbarre, Elenasbarre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.